You too, man. It's a Quest Leviathan prophecy, and I did not know Colin Sexton went off. Jesus Christ, 40 points? Wow. Listen, man, it's just one game. Everybody's getting, overhyped. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's just getting way too much. I know it was a very good game. It took two overtimes to decide the game, I bet you if this was the NFL, they would have went to overtime, tied it up, and would have probably ended it in a tie. You know, but I've seen crazier overtimes before. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I mean, it's just one of those games. But there's no excuses on how. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for the Brooklyn Nets. To be honest with you, Kevin Durant didn't play defense. Kyrie didn't play, even though Kyrie had two blocks, he didn't play that much defense. We all know James Harden is not going to give effort on defense. Like, Steve Nash is not going to work with this team. They would need to find a new head coach. I'm not saying that they can't work together, but the way I see his body language does not reminisce with Steve Kerr. Like if Brooklyn Nets had a Steve Kerr, then I think they would have been playing much better. And it goes to show you why Mark Jackson is still don't have a job. You know, like we all know, Steve Nash never won a championship. You know, and sometimes I always go back to that. Like if they had like a head coach who won a championship as a player, I think they would have been playing much better. But since they're under a head coach who's only won one MVP, and that's it, he's probably like six among point guards in assists. He didn't necessarily shoot that much, but I could go on and on and on about Steve Nash. Steve Nash was a great player, but he's not a great head coach, in my opinion. You would, like I said, the Nets would need a championship level head coach in order to get these guys to play better. That's just my opinion. You see you see what Tom Thibodeau is doing with the Knicks. Now, obviously, again, Tom Thibodeau has never won a championship as a head coach. I wish he would have, but that's just what it is. But he had success with Boston. I mean, not Boston. He had success with the Knicks back in the 80s, and he had success with the Knicks. And he had oh my God, I just said the Knicks twice. He had success against, I mean, not against, but he has success with the Knicks. I mean, with the Knicks and the Bulls when he had a prime Derrick Rose, and he had pieces around Derrick Rose, so that's the type of coach that the Nets need. I'm not saying that Steve Nash can't coach, but he's never been in that position. You know what I'm saying? Like he's never had that experience. So maybe he can get better, when the season goes on or when the season goes further into the playoffs, you know, like he could get this opportunity to say, okay, here's what I missed and here's what I, drilled or nailed, you know, or here's where I missed and here's where I made corrections, you know. Like I think, Eric Spoelstra, he didn't have the easiest come up, but he stuck with it, and now look at him. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that the Nets need a championship level head coach. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, if the Nets don't win a championship this year, they can use they can use it as motivation and experience. You know what I'm saying? You know, Steve Nash. You can if they can somehow make it to the playoffs. Not saying that he hasn't been to the playoffs, but he hasn't been further into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like he's always keep running into Kobe. If it's not Kobe, then it's somebody else. So even with a stacked roster that they had with the Phoenix, with Sean Marion and Amari Stoudemire and himself, they would always keep getting bounced out in this first round, probably second round. You know, so maybe he can. Maybe if the Nets don't make, or maybe if the Nets do wind up losing in the playoffs, he could use that as motivation for next year, and then we can obviously see a whole different Nets team next year. But this year is a wash. Like we already see it's a wash. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. When it comes to the Nets, I'm never wrong because the Nets are who they are. And the Nets will continue to be who they are because they have no alternative. You know. They have never won a championship. They have won two championships, but that was when the NBA was called the ABB. I mean the AAB. You know what I'm saying? So it's a hit and miss. They either hit or they miss. It's been like that with them since the days of Jason Kidd. And Kenyon Martin. And Vince Carter. So the Nets are just gonna have to find a way, But like I said, I do see the Nets making the playoffs, but they're not gonna go far, you know. It is what it is, but shout out to Colin Sexton. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody's gonna make a big scene out of it, like, oh, it only takes three or two to tango, right? Like, the and the sad part is then the Cavaliers did this without Kevin Love. I don't know if Kevin Love is on the PUP list. I don't know if he's deactivated. I don't know if he's on the injured reserve, you know. But they did this without Kevin Love. So, imagine if Kevin Love was playing in this game. But yeah, man, just it's just one game. They'll bounce back. But it's gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be a struggle because at this point it's not about who takes the last shot. Because they all can put buckets in the hole. We all know that. Now we've seen them drop. Kyrie go for 30 plus. KD go for 20 plus, 30 plus. James Harden went for 20, and then they still lost. Maybe if they would have taken more shots, the game would have been more lopsided than there already was. But, it is what it is, But yeah, man, just have to figure it out, It's only going to get harder and harder, because they face them again Friday. So I think Fridays could be a different result. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to come with the same energy as they came out tonight. I think the Nets are probably going to punch them in the mouth, just like a boxing match. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like, comment, subscribe, and till next time, take care of yourself and each other.